All right. Are there fans of Battlestar Galactica out there? I'm going to ask one more time. Are there fans of Battlestar Galactica out there? All right, you guys moved up. You've been hanging. You're excited. So we're going to make this one a big. We're going to make it big right now, okay? Let them feel the love here in Chicago. So right now, on your feet for Mary McDonnell and Edward James Olmos. Come on. Boom. As they make their way to the stage. Show them the love. Chicago, C2E2.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have no idea. Can I ask a big favor? We love you too.
Hello, who's that? Hi. Is my brother here? Yay! Hi, you guys. Hi, Jack. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Maddie.
Can I ask a big favor of the building? Could we turn on the lights in the audience so I can see them as much as they want to see me? We can't see you. And it gets to be like, you know, I'd rather look at you guys in the eyes, even though you're way in the back over there. How you doing?
It's really...
Just hard to see you guys.
It's kind of hard because...
Yeah.
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better.
Go for it.
That's really great. So, okay, so here we are. I feel like we're in a therapy session.
We are.
So how has your week been, Ed?
It's been strange.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you want to share?
Well, I came to see the Green River. By the time I got here on St. Patty's Day, it was not green anymore. It's like dark brown.
Really? It was green from my hotel room, and I was very happy about that. But when I walked into my hotel room, the very first thing I saw out the window, and I don't know what kind of reaction I'm going to get from this right now, but I got to share it because it was a bit traumatic to me. I walked into my hotel room, and through the window I saw Trump. Oh, good. Oh, I feel so much better. You didn't let me down again. Thank you. I know, but can you imagine? I'm here. I'm all excited. I'm really relaxed. It's going to be so much fun. I walk into this really beautiful room and go, oh, God. Oh, well, I guess he's everywhere. So this is a great crowd. How are you all? Woo!
What a joy. What a joy. Listen, we don't have a moderator, so guess what? You guys get to ask us the questions, and we get to go with you guys right away. So I love it this way. I'd rather you guys ask us questions than a moderator ask us questions. So who's going to be first up here? Ooh, they're running. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Go ahead, man. You're first.
Hi, I am Britton from Rockford, Illinois, and I guess my question for you is, who do you think would make a better president, Donald Trump or Gaius Baltar?
Hello. Come in. Stand right there. Right there. Not too close. Now, I don't really have an airlock. But I have to say, I really appreciate your courage and your conviction And if we're ever together at another con and I'm on the stage, don't ask that. I'm teasing. I love you.
Wow.
Yes, hi. I'm Jack Burns from Lakeville, Illinois. It's a pleasure to meet you both. I just want to ask the both of you, James, the dichotomy between being like the father of the fleet, and the relationship between you and your son. Where was your motivation for that? And also, how you presented yourself as an officer was amazing. Me being in the Air Force, it was, in my opinion, the most accurate representation of a military man. It was fantastic. And Mary, Madam President, vote.
I'll take either.
Vote
At this point, I'll take Hillary.
Vote Rosalind.
Yeah, vote Rosalind.
Now, how was it for you going up to that whiteboard every episode and changing the number and and Billy and all the emotional scenes you had to do? How was that for you?
Okay. Eddie's such a gentleman, isn't he? Good questions. The whiteboard is a really wonderful question because the internal activity of Laura Roslin was always predicated by the fact that she also had a limited life. So she was dying, and the civilization was dying. So the whiteboard became a very intimate relationship. And every time it lowered, the guilt that she felt would overwhelm at times. You didn't see much of that, but it was stuff that I knew that she quietly struggled with. Because it's one thing to know that you're dying. It's a whole other thing to take responsibility for not allowing the human race to expire. So I think it was central to always being aware that everything we did was in the face of mortality, everything. There was never a day when you didn't think that this could all be gone consciously, which is different from the way we all live in denial, happily. I mean, most of the time. I mean, I don't know. When I saw the Trump sign, but the whiteboard always made it clear that we were running out of people, not just running out of time. So it was the central feeling I had. Thank you.
Really. Quickly, let me just add to that just a second. Everyone that watched this show and got through to the end will have a much better ability to sustain and move forward. God forbid there's ever a nuclear holocaust on this planet. Those that didn't see the show are probably going to check out very quickly. So you're all very lucky. And now to answer the question that you asked me, it was in the writing. I came to this program on the script, and I walked into something that when I read it, I was floored. And every single episode that came through the door was mind-boggling. As much as it was for you, it was for us as we read it for the very first time. Because we would sit at a table, and we wouldn't get the script until we were sitting at that table. So we didn't know what was going to happen until we read that script, and we read it all as a unit. All the actors were there every single week, and we read it together, and we would find out what was happening. So the way you felt, we felt, and we ended up becoming an integral part of an extension of every viewer that ever saw the show, and because you lived every second. There's no way of watching this program without living the moments of the people that you were watching. And that was the price you had to pay for admission into Battlestar Galactica. And Ron Moore and the writing team were immaculate, and they were excellent. And yes, you can, there's some people who look at it and say, it was okay. Great. But all I can tell you, it is the best usage of television that I've ever been part of in my life. I thank them.
Hi, my name's Michelle. I'm from Virginia. First of all, you guys are just such great role models for me, and thank you so much. But my question
Thank you, Michelle.
I am a librarian, and I was just wondering if you guys have read any books recently that you would like to share, or television shows that you really love that you want to promote.
I'm trying to read this extraordinary biography of Red Cloud. He was actually, you know who Red Cloud was, right? Lakota, and it's really quite extraordinary. I can't remember right now the name of the author, but it is the most current biography, and it came out this year. And one of the reasons I mention it, A, because that's what I'm reading, but B, it is the first time I've read anything on Native Americans and a biography of any Native American or any sort of editorialism on Native American, sort of that was able to explain to me the ethos of violence that the tribes were practicing before we came in and gave them the rest of their problems. And it really is a kind of an astonishing understanding, finally, of it kind of gives you even more information as to why the appearance of white men and the way that European civilization related to the Indian nations was so off the mark. It's really a beautiful book. I recommend it. It's difficult, though, so you can't be afraid of violence. That's what I'm reading. How cheery!
I got you beat. No, I'm reading two books, and they're both very, very difficult and very hard. Not books. One's a poet who passed away just a few months ago, John Trudell, Indigenous First Nation person who is a beautiful poet. He's the man who led the takeover of Alcatraz back in the 60s. Beautiful man. And he passed away. We were together till the end, and he moved me a lot. And he was a brilliant man. And the other book that I'm reading is Hitler's Pope. A very difficult book to read, but one that I highly recommend that you all read. It's very difficult to understand how the whole world knew what was going on and no one did anything. It's really tough to take. I'm doing a film on it. That's why I have to do it. So I've been reading a lot of different stuff for the last 8 years, because I'm doing a film on what was known, when did they find out, and what did they do with the information concerning the Holocaust in this country. Very wonderful, ugly sense of understanding. But they will never teach us again once this movie's out that we really didn't know what was happening until they walked into the camps, and then they were appalled by what they found out. That they will never teach any of our children again. What they will teach will be something that will correct that issue and that problem. This is what was known. This is when they found out. This is what they did with the information. And this was the ultimate ending, conclusion. If you would have learned the Holocaust that way, a lot of the stuff that's happening right now would not be happening.
Hi, my name's Graham. I'm from Chicago via New York. And I have to say that Battlestar was a fantastic show. And the writing was pretty good, and it got the two of you on the show. The acting...
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The writing on the show was pretty good, and I'm glad it was good enough to get you on the show. it was the acting on the show that was remarkable, particularly the ensemble acting that was incredible. The respect of craft that I saw on that show every time, not only from its leaders, but from the youngest members of the ensemble, was remarkable, I have a theory of two reasons, I believe, and if you fill me in on this. One was they walked into the room and they saw the two of you towing the line. You walk into a room, you go to the leadership, and you go, that's how we're going to do it. That's the respect we're going to give this. And I believe that happened. I also think you guys were sequestered into a small area in Canada, and it became kind of a group theater experience. Or a party.
What's your name?
Graham.
Graham. Well, you're right. I mean, about that, what was that thing you said? It was because of the remarkable acting? No, sorry, I can't stop this joking around. You're right in that. Eddie and I have been doing it for a very long time before we did Battlestar. We're veterans at this, so when we show up, it's time to go to work. And a great deal of our cast had not had that kind of experience, and they absolutely did take a look at how we did it. They were all very talented, but there wasn't a lot of experience. So there was a tremendous amount of that going on. Eventually, I think that, and I really will credit my friend Ed here. Eddie came in the very first day of shooting. He rewrote the first monologue on his feet. He showed us what the world was about, and he showed us who Admiral Adama was. And we either had to figure out that we fell in place with that energy, or we resisted that energy, depending on who we were. And I would say that Eddie and Michael Reimer and Ron Moore, at the very beginning of Battlestar, showed all the rest of us what we were really there to do. And then, fortunately, the rest of us had enough going on that we were able to live up to it. And I really mean that. He did do that.
The very first scene that we shot as a group was the So Say We All scene. That was the very, very first scene that we shot as a group. And I think it was only the first half of the day was shot between Baltar and number 6. And they shot a couple of scenes before. And then we broke for lunch, and when we came back from lunch, we were into the hangar, and we were doing the So Say We All speech. But the So Say We All speech was a little bit different. And like Mary said, they did give me the opportunity to just explore the scene and to commit myself to it. And it was one take. It was really an incredible feeling. We covered that take after, but the full walking sequence was only done once. And all I can tell you is that, yes, you are 1,000% right when you say that the acting ensemble, the acting was immaculate. There was never a false note on anything, and it was because of the situation. But I will say that you're 1,000% wrong that the writing didn't have everything to do with it. Right? If it wasn't for the writing, we would have never got there. I don't care how brilliant I am. I have a very hard time, without the structure and the dialogue. So I totally give this show to the writers, 1,000%, and we accompanied. And let me just tell you, and I've said this before, the writers wrote this piece, and it just, when we sat down to read it at the table the very first time, it just took off. When we put it into production, it just soared. It just started flying. And then the writers just started going, oh my God. And then it went into post-production. And we just finished losing the person who really did all the special effects, Gary Hutzel. He died just 10 days ago. And very quickly, and we caught us all by surprise. And today, they're memorializing him, and we're not there. And we're here with you. And now I share his name, and I share it with all of you that would have never heard his name, maybe. And you get to be here, and we get to celebrate his life because he gave us all the special effects. That man literally laid his life down for his art. He would go to work, and he wouldn't leave. He had a family, he had children, 3 of them. And I got to tell you, he would sleep on a cot in the room. That's where he would sleep, and then he'd wake up and he'd keep on going. And then he'd go to sleep there, and he kept on going. And his own staff would say, "Hi, Gary." "Okay, I'll bring you coffee." You know, it was an amazing journey with that man. Gary was truly a gift. And I'm very, very grateful that I had the opportunity to work with him as a director. I can only tell you, he elevated my thought process to a higher level. Because when I came in with my ideas of what I wanted to see, he'd go, "Got it, Eddie." And then he'd say, "How about this. I said, "Whoa, Gary, yes to all of it. Yeah. Do it all, Gary. That's exactly what I need." You know, thinking, God, this man was a genius. So,
can I just say something here?
Go ahead.
He was such an unassuming human being, Gary Hutzel, a genius, literally a genius. And I didn't know who he was for the first 2 seasons. I just thought he was Gary. So, like, every time I ran into him, "Hi, Mary. Hi, Gary. How are you? How are you? What's going on? Oh, just working hard. How about you? How's it going? Oh, it's great. Yeah. Okay, see you around. Maybe we'll have a drink sometime." And one time I said, "Who's that Gary guy? He's so nice. What does he do?" Because for the first 2 seasons, as you know, I was kind of captive on Colonial One, and I didn't do any special effects, and I wasn't out there flying around things, and I didn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't really in the world. They said, he's our special effects creator. And I say, but that's how he was. He just had a very humble, unassuming, gentle nature and a brilliant mind. And a lot of what you see is because of him. He was extraordinary.
That post-production, really. Thank you, Gary Hutzel. May you rest in peace.
Hi, I'm Stewie from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yay. I was born in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, I saw you guys yesterday, Wilkes-Barre Pride.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you for telling us about Gary.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask, what sort of character interaction did you guys have that made you really felt the tension as an actor? Some sort of moment or scene in the show that was just, land-breaking for you, just incredible interaction with another actor?
This. That's exactly.
That is kind of how it was. We just look at each other and go, 1, 2, 3, act. It was so easy.
Like any sort of real emotional moments or anything?
A lot.
Are you kidding?
I know there were a
You are,
lot.
right?
And favorite emotional moment?
Did you have any favorite scenes of emotional instability that you might remember?
I think
I'll tell you about it.
Starbucks real capture was a very difficult thing to watch. That was very traumatizing.
When she got killed, or
when she got captured and she was living with
Leoben.
Oh, with
when
Leoben.
Starbuck was held captive by Leoben.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Very hard.
I went through
Very hard.
Knipsis fits in that one. I couldn't believe that they put her in that position. It was incredibly difficult because, again, that was quite young. They were at the very beginning of the show. So basically, I think the most emotionally impactful scenes that I had were the love scenes between her and I.
I agree. I'll tell you one scene. I think I've said this before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but really simply one of my most vivid memories. because it was one of those scenes where you are able to, as an actor, really truly forget about that you're acting, and you step into a kind of presence and a kind of zone that is what you always hope for, but you don't always get there. And it was this scene in my chambers where Laura Roslin made Adama an admiral, and she gave him his admiral's pin. Yeah. And I can't explain what happened between Ed and I that day, but I also think you leaned over and kissed me. And that wasn't scripted, of course. Because they weren't quite sure, the writers, if they could handle that. So Eddie pushed it a bit. But there was something so moving to both of us about this man, Eddie, what I know of him and knew of him by then, combined with Adama, and sort of honoring those men all at once in that scene. And it really moved both of us. And it's very vivid for me still. And it wasn't really a big deal in the script, but an action like that can sometimes move you into a zone of presence that unexpectedly occurs. So I love that memory.
It's beautiful. My most intense moment, like I said, was our love scenes, but the love scene that I remember the most was when I placed my ring on her finger.
Just a little too late.
That was the most emotional love scene of them all. And that, to me, was probably the most difficult scene that we had to do. And it was at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was very, very hard to do that scene. It was the last scene that Mary and I did together for the rest of our understanding of that show. That was it. And when Mary was done, she got up and started to try to walk out of the Raptor. And as she walked out, her 12-year-old son was there, Michael. And thank God he was standing there, because he caught her as she completely crumbled to the ground. And she just couldn't, none of us could take it.
Can I tell this story that I've told before, too, about that scene? Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, some of you do, but a lot of you don't, so good. It was an amazing thing. And so it's our last scene, like Eddie said, and we're getting to the very end. And my character is about to die. And that's a hard thing to do anyway, to end a show and be dying and losing your love all in the same scene, and have that be the end of a television series. So the impact of that emotionally on all of us, even my son Michael, who was standing by shooting it, was large. So we get to this point where, I'm just going to stand up because I want to see everybody. So we get to this point where Eddie is talking, Adama is talking to Roslin, and she's actually dying, and she's actually dead. He's not quite aware of it yet, but he's talking. And as Eddie was talking, and of course, I'm gone. So when you're gone, you can't move. So he's talking to me, and he's so emotional, he's so beautiful, and his tears started falling on my hand, which made me well up in tears. And my eyelids started to flutter, and the director went, "Cat." He said, "You can't cry, you're dead." "I can't help it, sir," I said. "I've been responding viscerally to this man for 6 years. And now you're telling me if his teardrops fall on my hand, I can't respond." Anyway, we tried it 2 more times before we finally got it right. But that's how alive that scene was that Ed was describing. And it was a real honor for us to be able to do that.
Hi, my name is Deidre from Rockford, Illinois, and it's a delight to have both of you here. Battlestar is very dear to my heart. My question to you is, were there any props that you have held on to since the show wrapped that still have any significance to you?
We weren't allowed to take one thing.
Really?
I'm not kidding you. They literally auctioned off everything. And so we had to steal everything we took.
Right, so because we had to steal them, we're afraid to say we have them.
So I don't have anything.
Because we're going to get busted. Oh, yes, you will. And you know, like our costumes, for example, we all had costumes that we wanted. And we stated, I just want this one. All I wanted was Laura Roslin's great navy blue Armani suit, right? All I wanted was the Armani. I don't really understand why they had a problem with that. But anyway, for some reason, Universal felt they had to keep all our clothes and auction them off for, I don't know, their end of the year party. I have no idea. But lo and behold, and I don't know if those gals are here tonight, but my suit was auctioned off to someone. And last year, a couple of my beautiful, wonderful fans came to my table and presented me with the suit. Are you here today, girls, by any chance? No, they're not here. It was really remarkable. So it's now in my closet with a couple other artifacts from other shows. So that was pretty amazing.
No comment. I took a lot of shit.
Hi, my name's Carrie. I'm from Michigan, and I have a question for both of you. Over the years, I've come to understand that every cancer patient and their caregiver goes through many emotions during that journey, and I was struck by the way you played Laura with her strength, her fear, and her acceptance that I think is very prevalent in cancer patients. And then, Eddie, how you played Adama with the anguish and desperation that any loved one goes through watching someone battling cancer. And I don't mean this question to be too personal, so you can ignore it, but was there anything beyond the writing that informed how you played these characters and those many phases that they go through in this journey?
Sure.
You can ignore it.
All right. The only person that I ever witnessed that I was really super close to who passed away from cancer was my own mother. And I was performing on Broadway at the time in a play, so I wasn't there a lot, but I would come home a lot on my day off. And what I witnessed was, at the same time that my beautiful, beautiful mother, truly exquisite woman, at the same time that she was diminishing in size, becoming thinner and starting to move out of her body, her eyes got bigger, she had lost her hair, she's very proud of her wig. But as she started to diminish in size, she started to grow in power. And I remember noticing that. Like, I'd come back once a week, and week to week that would be true until she could no longer communicate. So by the last time I saw her, she was speaking more directly and more through the people she was talking to, seeing more clearly into things, it seemed to me, than I had ever seen. And that stuck with me. And I just kind of kept that in the back of my mind when I played Laura, that even though the physical strength was diminishing, the spirit was becoming clearer about the mission. So.
Thank you for the question.
My name is Christian, and I am from Oak Lawn, Illinois. And my question for you guys was, so if you had the choice to find your next opponent, would it be Star Trek or Star Wars?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
So, if you had a choice to like fight with your sci-fi weapons and gadgets, would you want your opponent to be Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh.
You can take this one, Ed.
Oh, God. I would have to say my opponent. That's what you're asking, correct? Yeah. The opponent that would be the most difficult probably would be Star Wars. And, but, you know, Star Trek was no easy pushover. I'm sure you've seen the movies. So I got to say, to be honest with you, either one would have wiped us out. You got to remember, we weren't very well equipped.
I mean, we may have been able to get the Cylons to really like step up their game, but I still think we would have lost.
We lost everything.
We would have lost.
Come on, I was flying a museum, for God's sake. Come on, get with the program. So yeah, we would have lost to either one. Honestly, it would have been very difficult. The Cylons. I mean, I got to tell you, the very first episode we ever did after the pilot was 33, which I consider to be the best, the best episode of the entire 5 years of episodes that we had. 88 hours. That was the best hour of the 88, and the reason why was because of what it really implied and how difficult it was, and how everybody rose to the occasion, and how really we were outnumbered, outgunned, and really had nothing to offer. We hadn't found Ragnar yet. We were just like lost. Worse than lost in space. We were being hunted in space, and every 33 minutes we had to jump. And it was very difficult. And when the movie starts, or that episode started, it was on the 5th day of this fiasco that we're in. So everybody was wiped out. I really take my hat off to all the performances. If you really want to see just one episode, just watch the first one. It's a beautiful piece of work. 33. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Jean. I'm from Indiana. And we're all here to see you and enjoy. I'm over here. We're all here to see you and enjoy the interaction that we have with you. My question is, what do you see when you look out here?
Love. I sit at my table, and many of you have been by. Hopefully all of you will come by and just say hello. You don't have to buy a thing. That's not the reason we're here. But basically, what you have to understand is that I sit at that table, and it is a love fest. I mean, I cannot tell you how really incredible it is. And not just Chicago, all over the world. People really, really, I was talking to John Cusack yesterday. It was his first time he'd ever been to one. And I was very grateful that he came. And, you know, I think a lot of you are very grateful that John Cusack came. And he's a beautiful, beautiful guy, and he's here. You should stop by his table. And I must say that I told him, I said, you know, he says, yeah, you know, it's, I go, man, when can you ever take the time to talk to people who really, really, really appreciate what you've given them? You know, do you do it when you're running through the airport and somebody says, can I have an autograph? Do you do it when you're having dinner and they come up to you and say, hi, can I have your autograph or can I take a picture? When do you ever take the time to sit and talk to your fan base? Ever? I said, this is it. These conventions are the finest things that's ever happened to the artistic endeavor of our work. You guys give us so much power, it's unbelievable.
I just want to say something too about that. I think the thing that I love the most about it, and it is not different from what Eddie said, but the word that I keep telling people when they say, why do you like them so much? Why do you go? Is that there's just a level of engagement here. and it's smart, and it happens everywhere in the world. It's about the product, and that leads you into politics, and it leads you into a discussion of life. And quite often you get down to the core of certain issues on the planet and certain feelings about one's existence, and then you go out and have a beer. And you know, I one time was a little nervous about going through a lobby at Dragon Con because we started to come out of the restaurant and it was packed. And I said to Michael Hogan, our dear Colonel Ty, I grabbed him, right? I know, he's so awesome. I grabbed him and I said, "Oh, Michael, I don't think I can walk through." And he goes, "What the heck is wrong with you? What do you mean you can't walk through?" You know, Colonel Ty. And I said, "Well, there's just so many people that did it." And he goes, "What, are you kidding me? Aren't you a cheesehead? Don't you love football?" "I am a cheesehead." "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in Chicago." "Oh." "I also love the Bears." "Oh, I just love those Bears. They're such good football players."
Green
Anyway.
Bay.
Yeah.
Cheesehead.
Actually, I was going to wear my cheese head on stage, but I didn't think it'd be a good idea. But anyway, he said to me, "Okay, so you love football. Well, just think of this as a pop culture sci-fi tailgate party." And I said, "Oh, there you are." And from that point on, I got it. There's just something really remarkable about your engagement with the product, with art, with life, and with each other. And we love being here. So thank you for being who you are. We just want to
I
take
just had
one
to kiss
second.
her. I mean, I don't get to do this enough anymore, okay?
We just want to take 1 second because there's two little girls here tonight that many of you know, and I want to ask Savannah and Sienna to come up on the stage, please. Now, these little girls have been two of our greatest fans. They are an extraordinary family, these two. Yay! Can we have a big applause for these girls? As many of you know, Savannah's been fighting with her mom and her dad and her brother and her marvelous sister here, a very hard fight with mitochondrial disease. And she's winning, and she's beautiful. Their whole family has taught us so much about strength and honor and commitment. And they're very creative. And if you go on the internet and look her up, because what is the website, Amber? Okay, Amber Greenwald's blog. Because you can see little Seattle, Savannah, Sienna, Seattle's in Seattle. You can see her dressed up as every single character I've ever played and many of the other actresses that you all love out there. She does an amazing, not even impression, she just kind of absorbs who we are and then she recreates us. Anyway, we love these two girls, we love their family, and we wanted you to meet them so you can continue to support them in their fight. Thank you. Thanks.
Hi, Hi, I'm Vicki. I'm from Evanston. Personally, I think you guys are both amazing. I love the show, and I just wanted to know where do you guys find your inspiration?
You go first on this
Oh
one.
boy. Daily, I find it within my family. I'm inspired by my mother. She's 90, going to be 91. She's an inspiration. She's probably the biggest force I have. She was, I'll just tell you a little bit about my mom. It's very difficult. You talk about yours.
Okay. I'd have to agree with Ed that and I think this is true for a lot of actors, but I certainly know it is for both of us. I grew up in an amazing family, a big family with very smart, very passionate people with big personalities and lots of love. And when you grow up in a family like that and you have artistic leanings, which clearly I did, you start to synthesize all of those emotions and all of that experience of connection, and you start to imagine it into different forms. It just starts to happen naturally. So the core, I think, for a lot of actors who are able to work for a very long time is that there's something built within them that connects them deeply to their humanity. In our cases, it's our families. Then on top of that, you're inspired by everything around you. You're inspired by other people's work. You're inspired by a conversation you may have in a coffee shop. You're inspired by something you're seeing that night on the news that's happening across the world. There's so much to be inspired by that you don't really have to work very hard at all.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda from Cleveland, and my question is, we were sort of cheated out of the reunion scene between the Admiral and the President when they left New Caprica. What did we miss?
Intimate moments.
Did we do drugs?
Thanks to you.
A little Kamala goes a long way.
Hi, I'm Chris from Lombard, Illinois, and my question is, as someone who's struggled with a terminal illness and beat it, I took a lot of courage and strength from watching how you performed your performances, and I wondered, what were some things that you guys learned from your characters?
Thank you, and congratulations for your fight.
Thank you.
One of the things I learned from Laura Roslin was that, and I think this is true for a lot of women, we vastly underestimate what we are capable of because somewhere culturally we've gotten a mixed message since the day we were born. And she taught me that there's far more in us that we're capable of as women than we even knew. That was the biggest thing she taught me.
Yes. I learned how to pick myself up when you hit the bottom. What happened to Adama in this was never scripted. I mean, I never said that he was going to hit the bottom the way he hit it. And so when we went there, it was so honest in its understanding that I got probably the biggest amount of reaction from military leaders that I've ever gotten on anything I've ever done in respects of anybody calling. They really were grateful that they showed what the truth was of having to deal with sending people out to battle and the destruction of life and what it meant to them as they stood strong and firm with their commitment. And I was very thankful that I got to play the role, and because of that, and that the producers allow us to go where we went. I mean, no one thought that the Admiral was going to become an alcoholic, drug-induced, slobbering, crying whimpering person. And when they saw it, they were as shocked as you were, especially after the scene where he paints his bathroom and he's throwing up on the ground and his son's holding him in his arms. It was very difficult, and that was it. I was very grateful that I got to go through that experience with him that way. I learned a lot. Thank you for the question.
We have time for one more question on each side.
One more question.
Hello, I'm Julia from Austria, and firstly I wanted to thank you because you got me to come here to get on a plane, especially you, Mary. Thank you, because I was kind of scared, and now I'm here, so thank you so much. My question is, right now they are bringing back a lot of TV shows like The X-Files, and do you think you would be interested if they would bring back Battlestar Galactica for one season? I know your character died, Mary, but there is this... It's not a problem at all. There is this lost year on New Caprica.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, there's this lost year on New Caprica, and a lot of fans would be interested to see what would happen there. So would you be interested if there was a possibility?
Of course we would.
Very much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for coming from Austria.
My pleasure.
Unbelievable.
We'll take just a few more.
Hi, my name is Joy. I'm from Chicago. And first off, thank you for coming and visiting my hometown. And so my question kind of has two parts. So Adama and Rosalind were what drew me to the show. And they were my favorite characters, not just because they were powerhouses, that was very clear, but also because they were very human and that the decisions they made not only affected themselves individually, but affected the whole fleet. So in your opinion, what decision did your character make, whether it was out of passion or out of pragmatism, that you think had that had the biggest consequences on the fleet? And also, what does that decision, how can that teach us something about today's crazy political climate?
I'll just answer the one that you and I usually talk about in terms of Rosalind, which is I had to come up against banning abortion. And for Mary to think about imposing anything like that on anyone is preposterous. Laura had to figure out how to keep a civilization going. And so I learned in that decision, that complex conflict, there's a huge difference between being a progressive citizen and being responsible for the lives of a country, a planet, a civilization, and that you sometimes make decisions that are contrary to what you personally would wish. And that was really, really hard and really interesting and really taught me a lot. That's one we talk about.
Hi, I'm Jessica. My question's for you, sir. One of my favorite shows is The West Wing. What was it like to play Justice Mendoza?
Thank you for asking. It was an amazing experience because, again, the writing was superb. And they really defined the character. They wanted me to be a regular of the show and continue the process of that character. But I had to opt out to do American Family, which was the first full-scale production done on Latino-themed family, a Latino-themed product ever in the history of television. And even though it was on PBS, so not a lot of people got to see American Family. But I felt pretty confident that, West Wing could handle not having me on the show. But I will say that I thought that they did a great job. I mean, it was so emotional, but it was and very, very powerful. Mendoza had a tremendous sense of humor, and yet he took no shit from anybody, not even no one. That's why he ended up in jail. It was kind of hard. But good question. Thank you for asking. I love that character.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Alma, Michigan, and Ed, this question is for you. I know that we have heard when Mary said Rosalind fell in love. I was just wondering when Adama felt affection for Rosalind, like what was that first twinge of emotion for her?
You know, that's a good question. It was so hard because it started to happen when we were in conflict, but you couldn't show it. So I can't quite remember. The show is now kind of blurry in that respect, to be able to define it at the exact moment when I changed my thoughts about it. But it had to have been in the struggle. When we were in the heat of the struggle, I started to realize what a great human being and a great person she was. And we were still at each other. And it might have even been when she was accusing me of being a Cylon.
I think it was at the read-through. I think it was when he threw me in jail.
Really?
Yeah, I think he started to look at me differently. Oh, so where am I going? I was like, he started to look at me differently once I was behind bars. I didn't mean it that way at all. Never mind.
Thank you. One more. Oh, that's it. No, one more? Yes, no. One more. Go ahead. I think it's the last person.
This is for you, Admiral. Wondering if you could do us all a big favor here and give us a So Say We All send-off.
Well.
Okay, so let's stand up.
Go ahead.
Before Eddie closes us, whoops. I'm really losing my shit up here. Okay. Before Eddie closes us out here with your favorite saying, this is about the fourth time that he and I think, have done a con together. We haven't done that many. But one of the reasons I come back is for this moment right here with Eddie and you guys, because life is very short, and when you meet a collaborator that you trust entirely, you don't want to ever let go of that person, and you don't want to ever let go of the potential collaboration. And so I just want to thank you guys, because you allow me to come experience this relationship again at least once a year. And it's phenomenally important to how I continue as an artist. So thank you for that.
And I say to all of you that it's an honor and a privilege to be the Admiral of the Galactica. And may you all understand your lives to the highest. So say we all. So say we all. So say we all.